Okay, this is probably going to be probably the second to final video. The amendments. Amendments to the Constitution. The following are the amendments to the Constitution. The first 10 amendments are collectively are commonly known as the Bill of Rights. Amendment 1. Freedom of religion, press, expression, ratified. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or of the right of the people to peacefully to assemble, and I'm butchering this so bad, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Okay, let me read that again, because that is all one sentence, keep in mind. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Okay? So, we're not a Christian nation, as many people would like to say. This is the second place in the Constitution where it's explicitly stated that religion does not dictate our government. Just want to point that out. Freedom of speech, and of course we have the whole Supreme Court case, don't yell fire in a crowded room unless there's actually fire. Of the press, I do pay attention to some legal shows, and one of them was mentioning at one point that freedom of the press is often viewed as freedom to use the printing press. Me personally, I'll do my own take on it, and it is the freedom to replicate and distribute information, which is really what the printing press is. The right of the people to peacefully to assemble. Yeah, you gotta get a permit to protest. All right. Amendment 2: the right to bear arms. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, this is the amendment which brings a lot of controversy. What this amendment says is that the key idea here is the well-regulated militia. If we look at it in terms of grammar, words. Look at it in terms of grammar. So the militia is really what the rights to bear arms is talking about. Even though you got all this shit that says otherwise. Now, does that mean that I don't think people should be allowed to defend themselves, to protect themselves, and to arm themselves equal to an equal level of which their aggressors could potentially be at? I think they should. I think people should have the right to defend themselves. I mean, if we want to go towards more laws of nature, I mean, animals evolved teeth and claws for certain reasons, right? And part of that was defense. Spines, quill, wings, different ways to defend yourself. But in my opinion, this does not explicitly give individuals a right to defend themselves. And that's, and I'm going to say it right now. I mean, the Constitution, for when it was written and, what it is and has served our country is as a well-written document, and yet at the same time, there's a lot of wisdom that we have learned in the past couple of 100 years that really could go into this some more. Although I wouldn't really trust any of the fuckers we got in Congress now to handle. Well, not any, but I wouldn't fucking trust Congress to change this thing. But yeah, I mean, I think there are improvements that we can make. I mean, and that was really the intent of the Constitution, was not to be a static document. It was meant to evolve along with the people of this country. Amendment 3, quartering of soldiers. Soldier shall in time no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. So, you know, you can't your military can't say, all right, we're taking over your home, give it to us. And you know, if you think about the time, you know, at the time, you know, this is a more period-specific amendment. Amendment 4: the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. And this is something that, you know, in recent times has been a huge issue with, you know, I know I fucking hate when I say, you know, this has been a big thing in recent issues when you have police just pulling somebody over and saying, hey, you got X, Y, and Z item on you, and I think that's suspicious, I'm just going to confiscate it. And from what I understand, there's been huge efforts to undo all that, because really the police just coming in and taking something of yours just on suspicion is not constitutional. I mean, unless they have, as it says right here, probable cause. Well, I think you will probably use this. No, that's not probable cause. Probable cause means you have something that explicitly links two things together. You know, explicitly links a cause and effect. Like, if I say I'm going to throw a rock through my window, then yeah, that's probable cause, because I said that I'm going to do it, and I said it in all seriousness. Amendment 5, trial and punishment. Trial and punishment, compensation for takings. No person shall be held to answer for capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising on the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject to the same offense twice be put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. And this is the other thing with all the police just taking items. There's no due process of law saying, you know what, I just met you and I don't know anything about you, but I think you're going to commit a crime with this item, so I'm just going to take it. And this is also, you know, people pleading the fifth not to incriminate themselves, and the double jeopardy, which is if you get convicted of a crime once, you can't get convicted of a crime twice. And well, that part is you know, that's something that can really go either way, that part, because corruption can be used. It can be used. This can be used for the purpose of corruption as it is, and it can be used for the purpose of corruption if you take the double jeopardy rule away. Personally, with how corrupt our government is all over the place, I think it's better to have it this way right now, and realistically, probably permanently. So, Amendment 6: right to a speedy trial, confrontation of witnesses. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. Yeah, well, since when are trials speedy anymore, right? By an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted by the witnesses against him, and to have compulsory processes for obtaining witness in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. So that last part, you know, the Miranda rights, we cannot afford attorney, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so the no, this says that people can't just lock you up and say you're a criminal. You have to go through trial. It has to be a trial with a jury, and you have to hear all the evidence against you and be able to provide your own evidence. Amendment 7: Trial by jury in civil cases. In suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Okay, so again, right to trial by jury. Make sure you don't have just one person, a judge, saying, "Oh, well, I think you're guilty," and they have to get a whole bunch of people to get together and say you're guilty. Which, again, is not free from corruption in and of itself. Amendment 8: Cruel and unusual punishment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Yeah, excessive bail. Since when has bail not been excessive? And that's one of the huge issues with this country, and that's why we have, people in poverty being kept in poverty, because they go to jail and then they have to pay bail just so they can go out and work and pay for the trial that they're getting screwed through. Amendment 9: Construction of Constitution. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be constructed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And so, basically, it's saying the stuff in here is only meant. The amendments are, the Constitution. Really, the amendments are only meant to empower people, not to shackle them in any way. And the last one of the Bill of Rights: the powers of the state. Amendment 10: the powers of the states and people. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved for states respectively or to the people. Okay, so basically it's saying whatever the Constitution doesn't explicitly say the government, the federal government can do, and the states aren't coming together and say, hey, no, the federal government can't do this, the people can also come together and say, hey, no, the government can't do this. And next one.